Hi everyone, this is Andrea from My World by Andrea, and I'm being joined this evening by the one, the only Reggie Deanching, who is a photographer of the cover models that you are seeing on your books that you are reading. Tonight we're going to discuss with him about what's going on in his world, what possible new models that are coming in that he may be getting ready to photograph, where you might be able to find him, what links you can stalk him at, and anything else that might be interesting or come up in the conversation. How are you doing this evening, Reggie?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me. Just finished a custom shoot just now with Charlie Dex Alexander for author B.J. Cunningham,
Okay.
aka Cara Navarro.
Okay. So busy as usual. I know that it took a little bit of time to get you set up because your schedule, your calendar is full.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yes, you know what? I have a. I'm not a full time photographer, so I do have a Clark Kent IT job that I go to, and I've been in IT for um, just under 20 years.
Okay.
So, um, ironically, when I first started getting deeper into the photography here, I was working from home 100% of the time, and in the since 2015 into 2016, 2017, I've had to actually migrate more back into the office. So I don't have as much time being at home, and it definitely makes for the added time of commuting, getting ready for work, and
Right.
everything has cut into my time of photography. So
I'm sure. I'm sure.
yeah, and married Melissa Deanching,
Right.
also the M in our plus M photo, or Maximus um, is our son. Yeah, she's a photographer too, but it's getting so busy trying to balance the the family life and the work life, the regular work life, and then the photography.
Right.
So
Right.
it's burning candles at every end possible.
I'm sure. And how long have you been been a photographer? How many years again?
Well, I've been I've been playing with cameras ever since I was a kid. I don't know if it's just a Filipino thing or I don't know stereotypical Asian thing to have a camera, but in terms of actually being a photographer, I started in high school and did some in college, um, and then didn't pick up a camera really seriously until our first daughter was born. And we took about 8,000 pictures of, well, 3,000 pictures in the first year, and then it kind of waned off because we started using our phones.
Mhm.
Um, but then, as far as photographer, in terms of shooting, photographing anybody, it really started when our daughter started playing soccer. So rather than being the father out there screaming on the sidelines, as most fathers do, I decided to bring my camera, capture those moments, and then I take some of her teammates in the middle of the play. So it really got me interested in sports photography, to which is really more my more my thing.
Right.
And then I worked my way into meeting and progressing with my skills and investing in more professional equipment. And now uh, I work with a sports wire, and so I'm able to take images, take photograph events, sporting events that I usually just ask for in the local Chicagoland area.
Right.
But I photograph a lot of stuff, and it's fun. It's really, it's like fishing. Like you got to try to catch the best fish or the biggest
Right.
fish. You can't miss a moment. So it's a lot more pressure, but it's fun too. I get to be like right there.
Right.
But as far as the indie book world and being a photographer here, that started really in May of 2015. Ironically, I wanted to show that cover
Right.
just because it chronologically ordered. But that so this is my first cover, and I got into the community through Alfie Gordillo. So he was actually a friend and acquaintance for some time, and then he was my personal trainer through the beginning of 2015. Helped me lose weight, get myself together, and it's unraveled since. But Alfie and I got to photograph him, and this is the first cover. This is Upper Hand by Freya Barker,
Right.
who's also a graphic designer. So this is very special to me, and she's a very special person. I've worked with her on a few occasions, but that's the first cover. So that's 2015. now we're into 2018, and I've shot, photographed. I've licensed just under 400 covers. Um, I don't know how many of them are actually, been actually revealed and out there. It's probably roughly half or a little bit more than half, I think. I haven't really been able to keep track.
Right.
But so, yeah, so it's about 3 years. It's been really a lot of fun.
Okay. And what made you decide to become a photographer?
I think it's, well, the sports, it was just, I got excited. I mean, I really wanted to do that because I had so much fun capturing pictures that most people don't do from their cell phone or from regular just being a bystander or in the audience. So it's more so of the challenge.
Okay.
It allows me to be in the game, but to be a photographer like an indie book community, um, it's fun, and it's become even better now because with my wife very much involved photographing her as well, and helping us with all the shoots that we do. She does incredible hair. She's a hairstylist of
Right.
nearly 20 years, so she helps with the hair and makeup, which I can tell you when we photograph women, that's pretty key.
Yes.
uh, some people don't really need it, but in some cases, depending on what we're trying to photograph, it's very crucial.
Okay. Uh, is there a photographer or a person that inspired you to get into this field?
um, I can tell you probably one of the very first people that I identified and really looked up to, still look up to, and I feel very fortunate to call him a friend, actually almost like a brother, would be Golden Zermatt. So, fierce photog. When I first saw his work, it really, really resonated with what I was hoping that I could accomplish for myself. You know, as with anybody else, you see somebody who's very talented, but more so it's how well he created his own brand.
Mhm.
How when you see images created or edited or whatever from him, it's done by him, and it's done at a high quality, and it's respected work. So, if anybody, that would be he would probably be that, and he continues to today.
Mhm.
And you know, I joke that I probably talk to him more regularly on an hourly basis than Melissa because I'm always chit chatting about the next project
Right.
or stuff like that.
Uh, Basically, if you can condense form, what is involved in a photo session with a model, like from beginning to end, the Reader's Digest version of it?
Like basically, if we're talking like a brand new model, I usually try to do as much research on the people we're working with just to find out what they've done, what are their strengths, what do they prefer to do, what are their boundaries in which what they want to photograph or have photographed in the past. Likewise, if they are someone who's worked within the community, who have they worked with, what kind of shoots and what kind of covers they've sold. But essentially, we just talk over the business part of it, how much their modeling fee is, what do they expect out of this, how we're going to post, how we're going to deliver and market them as a model in, the stable or the stable
Right.
models. And likewise, just, want to keep everything positive. I try to impart as much advice. I don't know if it's because of my age or just what I've learned in the last few years of being in the community is that I just want to make sure that we always put our best face and foot forward and try to be positive and to know that the authors are the center of this world and we need to do what we can to help them. If we're not adding to their brand, we're no good. We should at least maintain what they've accomplished thus far and help them build from it. And in any way possible, leverage the existing networks that we have, as well as our following in whatever social media app that we use. But that's usually preliminary. And then as far as going into a shoot, we talk about what clothing we're going to bring, what looks we want to do. If for some reason I look at a model and I think, you'd be perfect as an MC guy, you have a different look. Or what do we know that are like the staple clothing, jeans, dress pants, tank tops, button down dress shirts, suit pants or suit coat or a full suit, hats, glasses, different props. And then basically, I just got to situate where we're going to shoot. I love shooting outdoors. I believe lighting outdoors is very easy to work with. It's just we can't control the temperature. We can't control the weather. Um, the best weather, the weather I prefer to shoot in is overcast, because overcast means that the clouds are helping diffuse the light, so the sunlight isn't very harsh.
Right.
But or what you see here, we're inside my basement. This is essentially where I've shot probably 80% of my covers. Right now, I currently have a gray backdrop up, but I have both black, white. I have a portable backdrop that I bring. Right now, I'm actually shining my favorite light that I use. It's really soft lighting, and that's essentially the keys to it. And then I got my cameras. So.
Right. Okay. And I know that before we started the interview, you had brought some books over. The books that you have, are they covers that you did the photograph for that you
Absolutely.
have? You want to show
Yes.
some of those on what you have?
Absolutely. So we have this one, Fred
Right.
Barker's Upper Hand, my first cover with Alfie. Here's a cover, blank canvas, by authors they had at the time referred to themselves as Charlie Lee, but this is Kathy Koopmans and H.J. Bellis, I believe. So hopefully you guys can see. That is
Yes.
model Blake Savani. Here we have Josh Burdick on the cover of Terry K. 180. So this was very special to me because I had actually flown out to the Pacific Northwest to work with Matthew Ozea, and in the process, had seen and become friends with Josh, and he hadn't been photographed before. In a lot of ways, most times when you think of models, they fit a certain look, like long hair, in crazy good shape, fitness shape, but with Josh, he's a regular guy. He used to be an athlete and all this, but I wanted to photograph the person that I knew that people liked. Is his personality that really draws him to everybody who know him. So I was really happy with that. I think with Josh, we've sold just around 6 or 7 covers, most of which were from our first trip. So I'm very, very happy.
Okay.
Here's a picture from Aileen Hart, and this is How We Fall, the Men of Evansdale County, Book 2. His name is Jamie Walker, aka Texas Tarzan. So this one's nice. I really like the design here. She did that herself. We also have P.T. Urilla with Down Deep from Kimberly Kincaid. I like this because this was not supposed to be a firefighter. He was just in the middle of an alleyway, and he just had this pose, but it somehow really talked to Kimberly, and she liked it, so that's why we have it on this cover. Real quick, Nicole Banks with Tesoro, with Gia and Sean Joseph. And Sean is a guy local to me. So another thing that I want to talk about is I also, hold on a second. Here, another picture of Sean Joseph from Esther Schmidt, who's from the Netherlands.
Right.
And 2 more. Shake with Cody Smith from Addison Jane from New Zealand. And lastly, the person I just photographed would be Charlie Alexander. And this is Fenrir by B.J. Cunningham. So the one thing that's a common element that I want to explain is that when going back to when we're talking about Golden, I was so impressed with the fact that he had this mysterious army. And I'm thinking, I want my own army, but, how can I can't do that. It would be just a straight, blatant ripoff. So Alfie and I were talking, trying to figure out a good hashtag or something, and came up with the stable. And now it's evolved to the stable models, just so it's a little bit more descriptive. But the big thing that I thought about was when I first started out, I wasn't planning on traveling. I didn't have the funding. My wife and I have 4 kids. It's not like I'm going to pick up and go. So that's where the stable came about, is that I started recruiting people who are local to us in the fitness community. Believe it or not, I go to like 5 or 6 different gyms, and I know a lot of people in the fitness community. So now that I've built up enough in my portfolio, people know me, know what I've been able to do and help people with. Basically, social media content is a premium. And I think if people who want to build their social media, they should really photograph with professional photographers,
right,
or me. And that's really where it came about. And that's how the stable formed. And now that I've been able to sell enough covers and kind of like build up a good reserve, I can travel now and go to different places and, be able to attract more models that may not have ever modeled before for the book community.
Right. What words of advice would you give a new photographer coming into this crazy world that you live in and photograph? Uh, what words of wisdom or advice would you give them?
For a new photographer, I'll be honest, I think the most important thing you can do is just try to learn, try to photograph as much as you can, understand your demographic and who you're photographing for. I think the biggest thing that people think um, is that it's just a matter of shirtless guys or, really whatever, scantily clad women and such. And it really is not the case. I think for myself, I always strive to take images that actually evoke emotion. So I think you can take a picture and post somebody who's, scantily clad or shirtless or whatever, and it might be like a picture that somebody can appreciate, but will it actually resound with them in thinking that it's a character? So to me, I feel like you really need to draw characters, whether it's emotion with smiling, happiness, sadness. That's important. Uh, but most important with new photographers, pay attention. Pay attention to how you interact with authors. Make sure that you're consistent in your business practices. Um, don't try to gouge people just because you think, oh, they're, I don't know, high profile author or somebody who's willing to pay whatever. Stay consistent with how you present yourself, how you treat them. The people that are high profile, that are brand new authors today, could be your, Amazon best-selling and New York Times best-selling author in the future. So it's best to treat everybody the same. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you know somebody's got a great reputation, that's great. But also remember, if you don't give them and provide them what they're looking for, you can easily, create a bad reputation. So I think the biggest thing is creating your brand, being consistent, and treating people the same equally, regardless of where they're coming from, how many books they've written or not written.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And where can people find you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those fun places?
so with Facebook, if you go to if you put up /R plus M photo, you'll go find me. If you go to R plus M photo one on Facebook, you go to my business page. To be honest, most people go to my personal page and it's public. If you want to see, I usually hashtag the stable models. That'll go to another page that I help maintain. That honestly, a lot of my stuff funnels amongst all the different social media apps through R plus M photo. So on Instagram as well as Twitter, it's R plus M photo, um, right there.
Right there.
But that yeah, it's a mix of things. I mean, the demographics that use Instagram seem to be different than those who use Facebook. And I believe that if you leverage it properly, you can kind of marry them together.
Right.
So,
Right. And then any book signings that you're attending or any special functions you're attending between now and the end of the year that people may come and see you at, watch you take photographs?
um, so the first thing that's the closest thing that's coming up as an event, there is Wild and Windy in the City, which is the weekend of, I think, the 7th and 8th. So I have a group of models I just announced that I'll be photographing. Melissa and I will be working with them. That's Wild and Windy in the City. That's being held at the Westin in O'Hare. So that's beginning. That's the first weekend, second weekend of September. The following weekend, from 9/12 to 9/16, I'll be at the Olympia. I'll actually be joining Eric Wainwright and Golden. We'll be sharing a suite where we did last year. We all worked independently but shared the same space, so that was really nice. We'll be at the Mandalay Bay for the Olympia weekend. After that, I actually had some plans to go to PennCon, but it looks like I might have had to change those at this present time. The next event after that, we're going into October. I would really like to go to TNT NYC for Janine Infante Bosco's event, but because of like soccer and it's a school, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it out there. But then the other last event I think I'll be going to this year will be, I think it's for Love of Books. and that is in the beginning of November, also in Chicago, but actually downtown Chicago.
Okay.
So those are the events, and then I think I've got another trip I'm trying to plan out to go to Arizona,
Okay.
hopefully.
So busy, 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 as always.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
And then I've noticed that since I've been following you on Facebook as well, that you have a nickname, Panda.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, how
I
did
do.
you how gave you that nickname, or how did you arrive at that name?
Well, I kind of joked. One of my best friends, his favorite animal is a panda. I don't know why. I thought about it, but I joke with people like I'm a panda because I've got gray hair and white and black hair, and I'm Asian, so I'm a panda. And yeah, it really was just that, and it is stuck through. I mean, I don't know. I figured everybody likes a panda. I mean, who would
Right.
hate panda?
Right.
So
Thank you.
it was just something, another way to, identify, be identified, be remembered. So I've used that. I've used different, panda hashtags, panda faces, and such. And like, I sell, I sell shirts off of GoReggie.com, and from there I have like pictures, logos, say the hashtag the stable. I've got a few new ones that came out. I was going to wear one and I just totally forgot, but all the proceeds from that I always donate. So most times in October I'll donate that to breast cancer awareness, but for the balance of the rest of the year I send it out, or excuse me, donate it to the Curate Foundation, which is a foundation that was started by some oncologists who actually helped take care of one of our daughters, who was actually diagnosed with brain cancer at 20 months old. So she's doing well now. She's 11. We just had an MRI actually yesterday. She has them annually now versus once a quarter. So
Right.
it's much better, much more normal life for her. And
Okay.
So that means a lot to me. Actually,
Sure.
there's a anthology that I'm part of, to which, of course, right now it's slipping my mind. It was just announced by author Marie James, and they're raising money to donate to St. Jude's. So myself and Matthew Jose are donating an image that we worked on together for the cover of that anthology.
Well, good. I always ask the one question, and of everybody that I interview with, if you weren't doing the job you're doing now, or the IT, what would be a job that you would never, ever, ever want to do?
Um, if I wasn't in IT, I mean, I would, and if it was sustainable, I would love to be a professional photographer. But before I had aspirations as a professional photographer, I just wanted to work at like ESPN, just to be in the middle of sports. And that's primarily because I'm not the most athletically gifted person, believe it or not. And I always think it would be cool to be around, athletes and being right there for sports. That's why when I was photographing pro sports, it's always fun because I feel like I'm right there in the game.
Right.
So,
Okay, and a job that you would never want to do, could ever see yourself doing?
uh, I couldn't do. You know what? I've done a lot of different jobs in my life growing up. Uh, I helped clean out horse stalls, so I know what that's like. Um, I'll be honest. I don't think, as much as I'd like to be a teacher, because I think it's great to help and really work with children, I don't think I could be, I don't think I could handle, teachers are still good. You know what, I'll be honest, I've never thought about that. I mean, I think, oh, I know. I've seen some people try to climb up towers to go like change light bulbs. I definitely don't want that. No. There's some cool stuff out there on YouTube. You check it out. These people are climbing without fear, like a mile in the air or something insane. It might even be more than that. I hate heights
Okay.
because I think you would hurt falling down and
Because
you
I
land.
know we think I could do that either. But um, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to
Sure.
come and speak to My World by Andrea, and letting people know about what goes on in your world
Sure.
and what makes up your world. And I'm going to let him go because we've taken up a lot of his time, and I'm sure he has other things that he needs to do. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. This is Andrea from My World by Andrea saying goodnight.
Thank you, Andrea.